Hey guys, welcome back to another broadcast of Galley Stories. Today, I actually have Timothy John Deplazes, and nobody's going to know who that is. But the name he goes by every day is Coach, and everyone knows who Coach is. He's the chief engineer of the FV Sovereignty. Coach, how you doing today?
I'm doing absolutely magnificently. I don't have a bad day. It's an amazing day to be alive. I get to associate with people. I get to work on the vessel, make the vessel safer and better for everybody. There is nothing better.
That's where you're at today. Where did you start at, Coach? I mean, I know that you used to cook, but...
Oh, all right. I grew up in Ballard. Was born out at Northgate Hospital, which no longer exists. But I basically grew up in Ballard with my grandfather and mom. And he was a fisherman. In fact, his legacy is helmsman on the Mayflower. My uncles, nephews, cousins have all been involved in the sea. Grandfather was on Hog Island during World War II on the distant early warning system that they had out there when the Japanese attacked, and he just stayed up there from that.
Where's Hog Island at?
Hog Island is right outside Dutch Harbor. Being an engineer, I don't know where it is, but it's right next to Dutch Harbor, and he was stationed there, and he had the radar facilities were set up there that when the Japanese planes and stuff were coming in to Dutch Harbor, it was his job to broadcast to the barracks and to the sub pen and stuff like that there was attack going on. After he got out of that. He basically started fishing in Alaska, and so many of my family have.
Do you remember what he was fishing for, or?
Oh, back then, because it was pretty much open, whatever you delivered was good.
Whatever you caught,
he did salmon, he did rockfish, he did all that. He actually owned a boat called the Bear, way back when, down in Kodiak and Ketchikan.
Were you ever on that boat, or did you see that boat?
No, that was a little before my time.
Okay.
Then later on, after I was born, right here in Ballard was New England Fish Company, and he was a skipper for the New England Fish Company doing tendering and stuff. And I used to go down to the boats. I used to go down and help stock the provisions and everything as a kid, 7, 8, 9 years old. Mm-hmm. I get to go down to the boats and help the cook out and stow stuff under the seats and put it in the closets and stuff. And then the massive cigarette order would come in, and I'd be packing that in the closets and stuff because you still have to lock those up and get a tag on them. Some of the greatest memories I've had, canned milk. The ultra-pasteurized milk that we get in red cartons and blue cartons today used to come in a can, and we used to stock those up. Same with the butter. The Darigo butter was in little 1-pound tins with a top that you had to take the can opener and open it up. But it came with a plastic cap, so that was cool, you know. But and that was right here in Ballard. An amazing time for me. This was something that actually brought it into my blood. Rolled on. A few years later, Grandpa's gone and everything. I finally got an opportunity. Oh, the one story I need to tell is when I was 17, Grandpa called me from Alaska, and he goes, "You need to get on a boat. You can cook. You need to get up here." So I said, "Okay, I will." He says, "Go down to NEFCO," which was down at Pier 71. He says, "Go in there, apply. I've already recommended you. Come on up." I went down. I applied. The recruiter says, "Well, George says to send you up, but you're a year too young." I called Grandpa after I didn't get the job, and he goes, "Well, what happened?" I said, "I'm only 17. He says, "You should have lied." I said, "You should have told me I should have lied." I'm trying to be basically honest.
Right.
You know, if he had told me to lie, I would have lied like a... Oh, yeah.
It would have happened.
Yeah, it would have happened, and I would have been up there. But, in the same sense, if that had happened, and I had gone north, would I have met my first wife, had a wonderful son? Would I have met my second wife, who I'm still with today, and is just so amazing that I can't even describe it.
We call her Momma.
Momma. Because back then, Momma was either the wife or the girlfriend, longtime girlfriend, and they were Momma. Jeff got us these nice sovereignty coats and everything. Got one for Momma, Momma, right, printed right on the coat. And I'm just going, Susan? That's perfect. Yeah. That's perfect because she's Momma.
For your wife. He got one for your wife.
Mom. Yeah. Okay. Got one for his wife, Susan, and then got one for me and Momma, and put Momma on the jacket.
He didn't get me one.
Yeah, well, talk to him about that. Jeez, are you kidding me? You didn't get Mark one. What are you thinking?
Okay, so this sounds really good so far, Coach. So you tried to get on at 17.
Yeah.
Couldn't go.
Good. Didn't happen. No.
Where did we go?
I've cooked for 28 years at this point. I actually did cooking and automotive technician, computer technician, and mechanic for about 12 years. And then, of course, kept cooking. So in between, I'd actually be wearing gloves to cook. I think I was one of the first people that actually put gloves on before it was required because I was doing automotive, so I had to cover my hands. And it was just an amazing time, and I've learned so very much. One thing I learned, a good friend of mine, Brian, he goes, Coach, you cannot learn everything. And I agree with that today. Back then, it's
back then he was calling you Tim, though, not Coach, right?
Yeah.
Because we get the Coach later on. Yeah.
The Coach comes later on. So, fast forward to 91.
How old are you in 91?
30. Right around there. I forget now. But it was right around there. So, I applied to Arctic Alaska Fisheries. Went through their Human Resources Department. Called them twice a week for 4 months. On Monday and on Friday. For 4 months. Called them faithfully. And I said, I need to come cook for you. I was still in the cooking stage. And they said, oh, no, nothing's available. All right, no problem. After 4 months, I think I just wore them down. She called me in, Michelle. Michelle came in, called me up and says, get in here, we need a cook. Cool, I'm all over that. That's great. So I roll into HR, I get into my Gumby suit, and they take a picture of me saying, yeah, he knows how to do that. Oh, that was exciting. Went through all the rigmarole. Here's your ticket. You leave in 12 hours. Now, I'm running around my hometown, or my new hometown down in Enumclaw, where Momma wanted to go. Mama's happy, I'm happy. And I'm running to the only store open at 9 at night, trying to get some sort of gear to go north. Oh, no, it'll all be supplied, she said. And I said, no, I better get something else. Anyway, so I'm running around the town doing that. I take a motorcycle ride to the airport. Good friend of mine dropped me on the back of the bike with a backpack, and off we went to the airport, flew up to Alaska, where I met one of my longest standing friends, Teresa Oswego. I don't know if she's still down in Tacoma office, but she was up in Dutch Harbor at that point, met me at the plane. She pulled up with this van, this old beat up van. She throws my bag and me in the back of it. Big screen, expanded screen between the seats in the back. She goes, okay, we're going to take you out to the Pacific Enterprise. And I said, oh, cool. I don't know what it is. I'm sitting on the hump for the tire because there's no seats in this thing. And she goes, and I just want to tell you that if you don't work out tomorrow, we'll ship your ass out of here. I said, oh, welcome to Dutch Harbor. All right, let's roll into the next story. So that's when I arrived in Dutch Harbor, my first day. Oh, and that evening was interesting. We were tied to the dock there.
How big is this boat you're on?
What is the Pacific? It's a Pacific Explorer today. So it's 165 or something like that.
Sounds good.
Right in there. Yeah. 165
How many
by
people
38.
were on there?
Back then, 35.
Okay.
And I was going to be the cook. So I come in, big Samoan guy, Keith, was cooking temporarily. Big. 350, 400. He was huge Samoan.
Big boy.
Biggest Samoan I've ever seen, right? Nicest guy. Just big. All right. So I get on the boat. And, of course, being dutiful as I am, I immediately start taking inventory. I run through the whole boat. The forepeak, the freezer, the reefer, trying to find, lifting the seat cushions, trying to find everything.
You remember those seat cushions when you were like 7 or 8 years old, right?
Oh, yeah. We store stuff under the seats. Do you do it here?
Of course. Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
So I spend pretty much like 12 hours just doing inventory, trying to figure out what I got, what I need, and I go to my bunk, which he had shown me before he went to town.
How was your bunk?
It's a 32 by 6.5, and it was fine. I mean, that's cool. I shared it with the bosun.
Okay. The same bunk, so you were hot bunking?
No. It was a twin.
Okay.
Twin, high-low. And for some reason, I had the low one, which today actually means something. Back then, I didn't understand.
What does it mean today?
Well, usually the lowest paid individual gets the top bunk. So, anyway, long story short, I'm down, I do inventory, I'm up in my bunk. I've only been there 2 or 3 hours, right?
I thought you did 12 hours inventory.
No, I did. I finally got to bed. I had to get up in like 2 or 3 hours to do breakfast.
Gotcha.
So, and I was psyched. I knew exactly what I was going to do. No big deal, just some eggs, hash browns, kind of thing. And in the middle of the night, or in the middle of the morning, whatever, I hear this sound. The light flicks on. So I'm laying in my bunk, and I remember to this day that I remember seeing the light through my eyelids. And all of a sudden, this hand comes down and grabs me, pulls me totally out of the bunk. Now, I'm only 145, 150 pounds. This hand pulls me totally out of the bunk, slams me on the deck. Of course, my eyes pop open, and I'm going, what the? And there is Keith, standing above me. His fist is raised, and he's ready to punch me in the face. Now, this is like the morning after I got there.
Yeah, this is all new, yeah.
And I'm looking at him. I mean, my eyes had to be the size of a watermelon's. It's like, And he's looking at me, and he's looking at me, and he gets a little closer, and he looks at me, and he goes, Coach, how you doing? And the one hand he had me with around the throat, he just picked me up, put me on my feet. He goes, oh, sorry, I forgot you were here. I said, what the hell are you doing? And my knees are shaking. I'm going, holy crap, I just lost it here.
Right.
He goes, oh, wait. A bunch of us got together, and we've been running down through the boats just beating people up and then moving on to the next boat. And I'm going, this is your boat. I forgot, he says.
Oh, my Lord.
God.
Oh, my Lord.
So that was my welcome to Dutch Harbor. Had a great time. And we became good friends. We became good friends. But
Big Samoan Keith.
Oh, he was huge. And he probably still is to this day.
How did that first breakfast go?
The first breakfast went okay. Today, I'm still disappointed because I did the standard, make the big pan of eggs, make a big pan of bacon, make a big pan of hash browns. But that wasn't me. We're coming up on the coach story here.
All right.
So
now we're still Tim.
Yeah. So I wasn't happy with that. And having been in a restaurant for years and 35 people on the boat, this is easy for me. I mean, I can put out 35 breakfasts in a heartbeat. So one morning, about 2 or 3 weeks in, I decided that the crew deserved better. I'd seen them. We'd been out on a trip. We'd had some adversities, lost a net, lost a door, and the guys were bummed and everything. And being the cook, you're actually the morale officer because they have 3 things: work, sleep, and eat. So they need the best. So I decided to take the skills I had as cooking and say, okay, everybody gets an individual breakfast every day, whatever they want. I had omelet trays set up. I had pancakes. I had French toast. I had sausage, bacon, ham.
Did you have a helper to help you do this?
No. Back then, there was no helper.
One man
I
rodeo?
put out 4 squares by myself, no galley help. I did all the dishes. I swabbed the decks. I cleaned the house. I cleaned the heads back then. And I did 3 hours of garbage burn every night.
I gotta ask you, what were you getting paid back then?
Actually, that was percentage. Okay. And it was determined by the skipper. If the skipper liked you, your percentage went up. If the skipper didn't like you,
it went down.
No, it didn't matter whether the staff liked you or not. If the skipper didn't like you. Now, keep in mind, back then...
It's kind of that way today, too.
Well, not so much today. But the thing is there was so much percentage to the boat. Well, if the skipper could cut out this guy, this guy, this guy, and this guy, the skipper's percentage went up. Because it was allowed for 30 or 35% or 40%, whatever it was. And I only had that happen once. One skipper said, "Oh, I don't like you." And I said, "Well, I don't like you either." So my pay went down to base, which was .8. That's the only one that ever did it. And to this day, okay, no, we're not going to tell that story because he ended up in court anyway.
So, cooking, I've never had your food yet, which I hope you're going to cook for me pretty soon. But
all right.
So how long did it take to move from that cooking spot to?
I spent 3 years. Well, and, that was on the Pacific the first year. I was on the ocean the second year, which is when I had my adversity. And the third, towards the end of the second year, I got on the Eastern Wind.
That's a Trident vessel.
Yeah. Well, it was Arctic Alaska back then. And I cooked on there for 3 years. Did rather well.
Did the coach name happen before this or after?
Oh, I'm sorry. On the Pacific, the first boat I was on, because I was doing the individual breakfast, and I was kind of the morale officer. It's like pump them up, make them happen, do. And they started calling it Coach's Corner.
So you got the nickname from cooking for the guys.
Somebody made a sign that says Coach's Corner on the refrigerator. Pretty much the rest is history. I've been a softball coach. Coach, I've coached four babies that were not mine. So Coach just seemed to fit.
And it's stuck. I mean, I've known you for probably 8 years now, and I've only known you by Coach.
Yeah.
Never Tim.
Pretty much everything I sign is Coach. Thousands and thousands of dollars worth of work, repairs, whatever, parts. If I put my initials, and I try to always sign my initials for bigger stuff, but once I sign my initials, it's Coach. If it says Coach, it's as good as gold.
Yep.
It's like a handshake. I grew up that a handshake meant something. Today, you got to get all the legal beagles in there, but back then, a handshake was all it took.
You might have to sign some paperwork after this because it's golden.
That's okay. I just did the release from the Chinese film crew we had on this last year.
Okay. So where did we go from there? I mean, you moved
pretty
eventually
much we moved. I've been on many vessels. I've been on the freighters, the Eastern Wind, Northern Wind. I've been. I was a floating chief for B&N. Kind of rolled through the probably 14 or 16 different vessels. Ocean Phoenix. I actually had the opportunity.
Boat.
I actually got an opportunity to be a Q3 on there.
Q3.
Qualified engineer. Because that's a steamship, so you have to.
So you're already in the engine. You're already in the engine room.
I'm already in the engine from the Eastern Wind.
So is that where you first went?
That's where I first went.
I kind of want to hear more about that.
Okay.
Because you're known in our industry pretty well about being a chief engineer. So I really want to know where you first stepped in there.
I went from the galley. Mike, the chief that was on the boat at the time, excellent chief. He's still around as far as I know. He was working for NOAA. He. And I can't remember where we were going, but we ended up having a water manifold problem on one of the engines. We're working cargo. That was a cargo ship. The guys are working cargo. The manifold went bad. We're dumping water and stuff through the manifold. And he's going, I need some help. So I'm straddling this engine.
I'll pull the cook down.
Yeah. And so I went down because that's what was needed. I used to work deck when they needed deck help. So I went down and pulled out the water manifold, helped him pull out the water manifold, and he actually was really impressed with what I was doing, or was what I was attempting to do. He guided me all the way, because I didn't know what the hell I was doing. He says, get up there and start pulling these bolts and everything like that. So I did. He said he was so impressed by that he thought I should get into engineering. Pretty much the rest is history. I mean, I've done Japan, I've done Russia. We've had issues, we've had things go wrong. But one of the things I learned from him and from other engineers, my God, there's been a plethora of engineers that have really taken me under their wings to
taught you your craft?
To teach me the craft. And I pretty much broke it down to just 3 simple rules: 1/3 mechanic, 1/3 magician, 1/3 Mickey Mouse. And if you can balance those out...
It's really funny you're saying it like that, because
recently
I've had Nick Crane on here.
Yeah.
And he called you the MacGyver of an engine room. It's funny that you say it that
way. I love Nick. He's amazing. He has some excellent potential. He does. He has some excellent potential. We just need to... And it sounds strange to say, but we need to get by the youth and start hitting the maturity. He needs to focus. He has the potential to do it, and I know he does.
He's a smart guy.
Oh no question about that. We just need to. He's still got that young man thing going. And don't get me wrong, we had him. I was already running restaurants at 14. I moved out when I was 13. Had my own apartment, Scargo Hotel.
It was a different time when we were growing up.
It was a different time. But he totally has the ability to do. But, 1/3 magician, 1/3 Mickey Mouse, 1/3 mechanic. And if you can balance those three things, an engineer's life is great. I made a set of ball bearings once because we had to recover something. It took me 3.5 hours to create a set of ball bearings out of two separate diameter pipes, grooving them out with the grinder and stuff like that, throwing the leftover ball bearings in that had shattered, and it worked for 14 seconds. But that's all it took to get the stuff back. Sorry, that's not sure that's Mickey Mouse or magician.
Which one?
But it worked.
A little sleight of hand even in there.
The thing is, whatever the job requires, we need to find out a way to make it happen. And that's what engineers do. And the good engineers can come up with ideas, with plans, with whatever that is going to create what you need to happen. It's an amazing thing. And it's something that excites me. I'm a creator. I love to think about what can I do better? What can I see better? What can I think about? Did I ever tell you that I actually have a plan for propulsion on the space shuttle that is a renewable resource and can be done through the vacuum of space and hydraulics, water hydraulics, hynotics. And I submitted it to him. Never heard back. But, you got to try.
It's probably on there now.
So these are things. I'm a thinker. I'm a planner, a looker. And I'm a lister. I need to make lists because I'm going to forget something if I don't. You know this.
I've seen your list. Yeah, I've seen your list. So moving down into the room, when did you start, really, because obviously you're a licensed engineer now.
Yeah.
I mean, what were the steps and how did we progress?
Well, the step was after Mike recommended that I come down to the engine room. Of course, I had the wheelhouse going, you need to come up here. Don't know why, but, I had skills up there. I have skills down below. And so, if something happened today, I could get the boat into the dock. I wouldn't, if everybody... was sick or whatever, I could get the boat.
You drive the boat?
No, I do not drive the boat here. But on the freighters, we used to have shifts.
Yeah.
Because we'd be doing at-sea freight. We'd have, 20, 25-foot drops between the boats, and the skipper's got to get some rest, the mate's got to get some rest, because we're all working decks and stuff.
Right.
And so as a cook, I was taking a 6, 7, 8 hour watch on the wheel, driving the boat, making sure we stay in the waves.
It's kind of how it is with all the,
It is. You adapt. You make crabbers. Good example. They get the skipper, the mate, and then the deckhand takes over so they can get some sleep and roll around. So this is a sharing industry. I mean, as much as you say, well, you're a chief engineer. Yes, I am. But if something happened, if something truly happened, bad, catastrophic, or whatever, I can be a deckhand. I can make sure we're pointed the right direction to get to safety.
Right.
And that's really it is. You have to be a little bit of everything. We were talking earlier about the deckhands coming down to engineering and learning. Can you start and stop the boat? In an emergency, do you know what to look for? DC, damage control. We practice that drill every month. Not much to do.
Did you practice it when you first started to, or is it
way more
safe?
It's progressed. Back then, if you could get in the survival suit,
you just kicked the line,
it was good.
Kicked the tires and lit the fires and went.
Yep. And don't get me wrong, I love the fact that more and more safety is coming into play.
Yeah. Well,
because more equipment that we probably should have had then is now available.
And simple equipment too, right? I mean,
very
PFDs,
simple. Very simple.
Just put on the vest.
PPEs, hard hats. We should have had those all along. And I will never argue that.
Well, and it shows just on statistics alone. You know, we're losing less guys. We're losing less vessels.
Yep.
This last year has been a pretty bad year for us. I mean,
yep.
we lost a couple vessels, some guys on that.
It still does happen. But
it does. It's
not
kinda...
near as it was 25 years ago or 30 years ago. I mean, I came up right after the Aleutian sinking. And to this day, I still have a little... I wasn't there, but I still, after all the facts and figures came through, it still is foremost in my mind as what went so terribly wrong that boat went down in the middle of the fleet. Should have never happened.
Well, the last big one, I mean, obviously we lost the Exito and the Destination, but the last big one prior to that was a Ranger. I mean, that was a big boat.
That was a big boat.
And one shaft seal can do that to you, you know.
Absolutely. And that's why the maintenance, the alarms, let's put it this way, the alarms in the bilges and stuff, these need to be maintained. These need to be taken care of because you only get one chance to do this. You only get one chance. And if too many things go wrong, 2/3 of them are human error.
I've actually teased you a little bit about not going home, and you've told me, Mama loves me, Mama will be there, but I need to take care of these guys. This boat is so important to me. These guys are important to me.
Every boat I'm on, I treat the same. These are my people. These are the guys that take care of me, and I'm going to take care of them. It's hard to explain the fact that, and as much as I love Mama, and Mama says, if this is what I want to do, I need to do it. For me, I need to do it because I've got people depending on me. I've got people that I care about. This is my crew, and nothing is going to happen to my crew. We're not going to walk home from the middle of the Bering. We're not going to drop a rudder. We're not going to do this stuff because we're going to watch this stuff really, really close. Can I make a mistake? Yes, I certainly can, and I have made a lot of them.
Have you?
Oh, absolutely. But nothing that's been so critical that it endangers something.
Have you been scared out there, Coach?
I've been scared a few times. Not so much, and I'm going to use the words, not so much scared sometimes as just in awe of what goes happen. I mean, we've been in 40, 50-foot seas. We went through Hurricane Aniki when it was Tropical Storm Aniki. It hit Hawaii and did some serious damage many, many years ago. And, you know, there's footprints 5 feet up on the bulkhead because we were rocking so hard that you're basically just walking up and down the wall. That was interesting. Scared? Not so much scared. I'll tell you what actually...
You got bigger balls than me.
What actually scares me, what terrifies me, because of the responsibility that I probably put on myself more than the company even expects, is I don't want to be the one making that mistake. I don't want to make that mistake. And that terrifies me more than anything because these people depend on me. And as a team, we come together. My team consists of 5 guys. And I depend on everybody to watch my back just as I watch everybody else's back. Yes, skipper's got ultimate responsibility. Mate's got responsibility. I have responsibility.
Everyone does.
Everyone does. So we need to work as a team, and I'm on a team that is incredible.
It sounds like you put a tremendous amount of weight on your own shoulders.
I do, but I always have, through cooking, through engineering, or mechanicking. Like I told you, my best friend says, you can't learn it all. I said, I got to. I need to learn it all. I need to know exactly what's going on. And to this day, that's not changed. I have nightmares on the boat.
I can't believe you're not on like 15 different kinds of blood pressure medication.
Oh no, I went for an exam. Here's mentioning that I went for an exam a couple 3 years ago, and they did the dye thing through the veins and stuff, and they said, "Wow, you have the veins of a teenager." I'm going, "What? Must be my bacon diet, bacon and aspirin." They said, "You're healthier than a horse."
Now, I didn't actually ask. How old are you today, Coach?
Today I'm 59.
59.
Coming up on my 60th.
You're not quitting anytime soon?
Oh, I haven't got time to quit.
Yeah.
How about the illnesses this year? We've been dropping people like flies.
There's been a lot of sickness.
I ain't got time to be sick, so we need to rock this out.
Ain't doing it. Yeah.
Ain't doing it.
Well, you just came out of you're just coming out of a shipyard.
Yeah, we're just coming out.
Just a couple days shy of taking off. That's going to be a relaxing moment for you too to pull off.
Well,
that down.
actually, I'll tell you what. I'm going to get my rest, and this is something I tell Mama. I said, I got the babies, 9 of them. I got the grandbabies, 14 of them. I've got a whole bunch of adopted. Going north is my vacation.
I hear you taking strays.
This is my vacation.
I hear you taking strays, and I'm not talking about dogs and cats.
No.
I'm talking about kids in the neighborhood.
We have an open door. We take in the kids, and don't get me wrong. I mean, Mama's strict with, this is what you do. You help out. You go get a job. You do, or whatever the situation is. And if the police show up and say, is so-and-so here? Mama ain't going to lie. She said, oh, yeah, he's right here.
He's right here in the sofa.
And usually that involves the parents looking for them.
Right.
But Mama's not going to hide it.
Because they ran to Mama?
Yeah.
How about funny stories? You got to have something.
Okay, the Dutch Harbor story was funny. I got my ass kicked there.
I want a better one. I want a better one, Coach.
Funny story. God. Well, let's start with some amazing things.
Okay.
Water spouts.
Oh,
when I was fishing off the Washington coast years ago, water spouts starting in the ocean, and you can see the ocean swirling, and then you get the finger coming up, and an amazing water spout. Amazing water spout.
You don't want to be right there, but...
Oh, no. We went around it.
Yeah.
That's back when I was on the trawler.
How big was it? I mean...
Well, it was probably 25, 30 feet in diameter, and going... It's hard to guess height, but I would guess 300, 400, 500 feet. And there were twins.
Oh.
One day, there was twins. I've seen singles.
Some dancing angels.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. It was incredible.
It had to be a great
I've been out on the grounds where we, back when I was on the trawler, that was before the big boats, gray whale came up and actually pushed us about 6 feet over, hit the boat. I was on a 28-footer, and it just displaced us.
You see these things on TV, right?
Yeah.
Seeing them in person is totally different. Because you look at them on TV and you're like, oh, that's a big fish.
Cool. Yeah.
Right?
It's a whale.
But when you're on a 170-foot boat,
yeah.
And this thing's as long as the boat, I mean,
yeah. Now,
that has to be.
The first one I was on a 28-foot boat.
Oh, Jesus.
And it displaced us 6 feet over.
Oh, but Jesus.
But I got to pet it. Never pet a whale. The barnacles. I cut 4 fingers trying to pet the whale because that was just. I'm standing in the troll deck, and I'm like 2 feet above the water, and this thing came up, displaced us over. I mean, just like 6 feet over, and I'm reaching down and I'm petting it, and the barnacles just scraped me. Got blood poisoning, salmon blood poisoning, out off the coast. Had a red streak up almost to my armpit before we got in. Had to surgically remove my rings and stuff like that. And so there's been some close moments.
I stopped wearing a wedding ring a long time ago because of a net.
I don't wear a wedding ring because when I was cooking, I used to lose it in the salad.
Well, mine
how weird.
mine hooked on a net, and I thought I was going swimming. So.
Well, that's when I got the salmon poisoning. Is the line came around it and then ripped the whole end of the glove off.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Man,
oh yeah.
man.
But the ring didn't come off, but it swelled up so damn hard it was just white.
Coach, 59 years old now.
Yeah.
No chance of quitting anytime soon.
Hell no, I can't afford it.
Well, right. Well, you got 9 kids, 14 grandbabies, and like
so many
like
adopted.
9 strays.
Oh no,
which
way
is
more
great.
than that.
Which is great.
Yeah.
It takes a certain classy kind of person to adopt, which is awesome. But in all that time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you didn't start till you were 30. You didn't start going up till you were 30.
I actually looked into a maritime academy. Here's one for you. I looked at a Maine Maritime Academy to go get some training and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They said I was too old. Isn't that age discrimination?
So you're at least let's see, 30. You're 29 years now.
Yeah.
Up there.
Yeah.
And there's guys that 29 years. That's their entire career up there. And you had a career before this. But
oh, yeah. The cooking and mechanic.
Would you have any advice for people thinking about doing this?
I'll tell you what, and that question comes up all the time
with
the kids, with friends of the kids and stuff. the best advice I can give on anything like that, which is kind of silly, but it's like, do you want to be wet 20 hours a day? Do you want to be tired 20 hours a day? Do you want to not see your family, not see your friends, not see TV? Now, today, that's not so critical, but have limited communications. Oh, wait, your cell phone doesn't work? Oh, well. So, if you can put up with that, and if you've got some drive and gumption, and I'm a big believer in gumption, I'm a big believer in drive and grit. If I find somebody with grit, it's going, you can do this. If you ask about, can I do that, or I want to do that, if you got grit and I see grit, I'm all over that. Gumption, drive.
Teach, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, part of it's got to be, we got to find these young guys, and we got to teach them.
Exactly.
To do what we're doing.
You know, like
Nick's
Nick,
a prime example.
He's got so many opportunities.
He's got talent.
So many opportunities, and he's getting better every year. Every year.
He's only 2 years in. What, 3 years in?
2 or 3. Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing is, I think Dad, Jeff, is just totally proud of him. I mean, not even a question.
Wouldn't you be?
I'm proud of him.
Wouldn't you be?
No, I am
son?
proud of him. I mean, he's kind of found his niche. Now, he wants to learn more. We'll teach him more. But keep in mind that trying to teach him more also includes you have to keep up with what you got.
Yeah. And then do some more.
Then you got to put in that extra effort.
It's funny you say it like that. Let's see. Who did I talk to the other day? I think it was Dominic. That was started processing and gutting, and he forced his way onto the deck. Not forced, but in his off time.
Yeah.
In his off time, he'd go up and learn.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here's how you fix a net.
And that's the combi.
And he wasn't being paid for it. He was going.
No.
He's like, I want to know. And that's important.
Yeah.
So you got way too many kids, way too many grandkids,
This is my vacation.
No wonder you like to work so much. But again, so the advice is just to work and get after it.
You need to, and not everybody.
But you got to
can do
find
this.
a good mentor too.
Well, and that's really important. I mean, I've had a couple of bad ones, but I've actually been very, very lucky with my
Mike
mentors.
Earlier.
Yeah, Mike. I had a one-armed chief, and I can't remember his name today, but I had a one-armed chief that could make a ratchet sing. I couldn't keep up.
I was trying to think of a really good nickname for a one-armed guy, but
yeah. Well, I'm not sure I'd go there. But then I had an old nuclear submariner chief that was in our fleet. Old, crusty, barnacle covered. Oh, he was. But he taught me probably more about everything that I needed to know, because everything was shipshape and bristle faction. Everything was by the book. Everything was Navy. You write it down. You make it happen. You do it. You take care of it. And good enough is not a word I believe in. Not a phrase I believe in. If it's good enough, then you haven't done as good as you can.
I've seen you order and reorder to make sure that the part is right. It's the right way.
Okay, my bad. I didn't get the right one the first time.
No. I appreciate the way you take care of your crew. I appreciate the responsibility you put on yourself.
These people entrust their lives to me, and I am
if
going
you don't make
to
it go,
do
they don't go.
the very best I can to make sure they all come home. Everybody comes home. I cannot stress that enough. My job is to help make everybody, and it takes a team effort, don't get me wrong, but my responsibility, my shoulders hold probably more than it should, but I need to make sure everybody gets home safe. I need to make sure everybody comes.
Do you think that, in our fleet, when I say ours, I think we have really responsible engineers. Do you think they all put that same pressure on themselves?
Actually, most of the ones do. Most of the ones, and I'm not going to say it because I don't know all of them, but I'll tell you what, I've been proud to associate with the engineers. They come over, they ask my opinion. I go over there and I go, God, I got a head scratcher. I'm not sure what the heck's going on here. But they do the same thing. Coach, I need an opinion. Just yesterday, somebody stopped by and goes, Coach, you guys are doing we're doing the skirt, UMHW skirts.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, well, you had told me that you were redesigning that. And I said, yeah, I did. It's like, the bolt, the cover, you inset. And instead of having these little bolt heads, now you're putting in a plate that's going to eliminate snags and damage. Is it right or wrong? We'll find out. We're still test driving it.
It's part of being an engineer,
You don't
right?
do.
It's part of being MacGyver, Mickey,
and magic.
Magic.
Yeah.
Well, Coach, we're about out of time here,
Okay.
but I've really enjoyed talking to you.
We'll have to do it again sometime.
We will. We will. Any last words before we sign off here?
Don't forget that as much as you look at the world outside and you go, today's a hard day or today's not a hard day, every day is an opportunity to just be amazed at the fact that you're here and you get to enjoy everybody and everything. Everybody that touches my life, everybody makes up the sculpture of who I am.
I don't even know if I can end that though. That was amazing. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. I have been with Tim, who will always be known as Coach.
Yeah, always known. Formerly as Tim.
Always known as Coach. And thanks for tuning in to Galley Stories. And we will see you next time.